level 45 Padawan Warlock Knight, so you better watch your mouth.
You know what I can do? Now what? Go. Your turn.
You can't see me.
Yeah, why the fuck wasn't I on the lineup?
Was not an official member of the lineup.
Yeah, seriously, who's running this fucking thing? Why wasn't I fucking on the official lineup? Seriously, heads are gonna roll.
Step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fire. My rhymes burn hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing raw like a southern rap messiah. Crossing over lines like I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Flipping opponents like I'm Randy Orton. Dirty South flow, my words they be costing. Every verse I drop got them head nodding. Spit lyrical punches like a ruthless fighter. Got the crowd hype, I'm the crowd igniter. Breaking down the raw matches, no denier. Dirty style rap, I'm the Monday night supplier.
What's up, fans? What's up, window lickers, grunts friends, my friends, any chaos goblins out there running around in the fields getting ready to talk some Monday Night Raw? I'm so glad to see you here on another Monday, being a part of the In Your House / window lickers representation of what happens on a Monday Night Raw, where we preview some things that we enjoy talking about. And when I say we, I'm talking about a couple of my friends, and I think we know who they are. They are the Chaos Goblin himself, Kevin Calloway, and the blue-eyed villain himself, the Grunmeister. How's it going, my friends?
Not bad. Hold on. I think I see a new sticker on that mic. Maybe I just haven't noticed it until like literally right now, but is that a BD Smooth sticker?
That is a BD Smooth sticker.
I know that man. I like that.
Yes.
I like that man's jokes while I'm helping ring with him.
Yes, I do enjoy BD Smooth. He is
he's an interesting cat, but an entertaining one.
He is. He's definitely out there, and I've absolutely adored every conversation I've ever got to have with that dude. And yes, he's been a longtime fan of mine, so he goes on my microphone. Yeah, absolutely adore that dude. Grun, you would like that guy.
All right.
He's definitely on another planet. And we already got the Lou here. Look at our faithful follower. We're talking about a longtime fan. We got the Lou, part of the Buddies Network. Go check out all things Lou does. He's a variety streamer doing all great things out there. And me and Grun are gonna beat the shit out of each other on a show coming up soon. That's coming up.
Yes, we
Grun.
are. Yeah, we are, Josh. And I think we
Yeah.
should let people know this isn't going to take place in just a ring. It's not going to take place backstage. It's not going to take place in an ambulance. It's going to take place inside the devil's favorite playground, Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
I'm
that's going to be your
same
last
thing I did
spot
to
where
you
you
to
can
Cactus
walk.
Jack. The same thing I did to Cactus Jack, I'm going to do you. Drag your ass to the top and toss you through it. You're going to know pain.
Cactus Jack, he never knew pain.
I've been in a War Games match, so you guys are in for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are.
there we go. Kevin knows our pain. That's
I
about to
do.
come to
Oh,
us.
God, I do.
Yeah. So, Kevin, we would love for you to, if you have the chance when that goes live, to join us in the chat, because it's
Absolutely.
a fun time over there on the Lose Network.
Just live commentate.
Oh yeah, we have a good. There's a good bit of trash talking in the chat, and it gets fun. It gets fun. And we got the boss himself of IYH, House, joining us. What's up, House? How goes it?
Fresh new profile picture. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. He's looking.
What is that in
spiffy.
is it that in the Pacers jerseys there?
Yeah, he's got the Pissers jerseys on. He's out there.
Pacers aren't my least favorite team in the NBA.
No, I don't mind the Pacers. I don't mind them.
They're just coming back. You know, they got the legacy of Reggie Miller. Like, it's not all bad.
Yeah, you know, and they could never get a championship with him because of
No.
Michael
Well,
Jordan. He
I
tend
mean,
to
in
kick
fairness,
Reggie's
Michael Jordan
dick
could
in.
do it all, and Reggie could basically just jack up all the three. Reggie Miller, here's a hot take. Reggie Miller was Steph Curry before there was a Steph Curry.
Oh,
Because that man could shoot it from anywhere he wanted.
no, I agree with you. Reggie Miller was a beast to watch, and he was always a threat too, because you never knew when he was. I mean, what was that one game he scored like 9 points in the middle of like 10 seconds or 9 seconds?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'll throw this hot take out there. The only reason Reggie Miller didn't reach the heights of Steph Curry is because of the era that he was in. And I'm not even talking about the players. I'm talking about that it was far rougher. So he couldn't do as much because the fouls weren't called as quickly.
I agree with you. And House is agreeing as a longtime Pacers fan. That's not an outlandish take, Kevin. And I seen Grun, you threw up Annie. We got our dear friend Andy O'Neill. You can catch her and House on the Raw Deal with House and O'Neill on Wednesdays, where they fact check the Bearded Brigade, as Annie O'Neill has dubbed this crew. We are the Bearded Brigade. So, brigade members, what do we want to talk about?
Brigadiers.
Brigadiers. We are the Brigadiers. So what do we want to talk about outside the ring before we have to jump in and hear that 3 count?
Well, while we get this out of the way, there's a little bit of sad news. The original lead singer for the Iron Maiden's legendary rock and roll band has passed away. Paul Di'Anno, I believe was the name.
Yeah. Paul Di'Anno.
All right.
Iron Maiden, legendary heavy metal band. Your favorite heavy metal band's favorite heavy metal band.
Very true. Very true.
There would be no metalcore probably without Iron Maiden. So say goodbye to your I Prevails, your We Came as Romans, your list literally any metalcore here.
Oh yeah.
One of the big 4 coming out of the metal era, which would have been Metallica, probably Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Slayer, because they all kind of went into different kind of ways.
Oh yeah.
I think you could debate Slayer being replaced with someone else if you really wanted to, but I think those are your basic 4. And yeah,
that's a good 4.
I think that's a good 4.
It's a huge hit. It's not a huge hit. He was older. He lived a life. But it's always sad to see a legend pass.
Yes, very true. And we got Ken in here telling us he's watching, and Ken, we appreciate that. Thank you for stopping in. I know you're a longtime IYH fan, so thank you for joining us. And Lou said he saw them live before, and that is sad to hear. R.I.P.
Man, I missed seeing Iron Maiden live so many times. Like, I was this close to seeing him like 3 or 4 separate occasions.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They weren't with their original lead singer, I don't think. They weren't with Paul Di'Anno. They were with I think Dickinson took over for him, if I'm not mistaken. But still, like, they got to be on last legs. I'm happy to have seen Judas Priest multiple times. It turns out Rob Halford can still do it live. It doesn't matter if he's 70 or 30.
Yeah. Him and the Rolling Stones have found this fountain of youth to where they can still do what they do. I mean,
like just a couple years ago, Robert Halford did a song with Maria Brink and her band In This Moment, Black Wedding. Not particularly a fan of in This Moment, but that song was absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, Rob goes very hard when he's rocking out, man.
Rob goes unreasonably hard at the age that he is.
It's insane. Like some of the stuff that throughout the years where you're just like, oh my god, like I didn't know how much these guys rocked, but they do. Yeah, it's always sad when we have legends of the world pass on, but like Kevin alluded to, you know, the age. We knew it was coming, but you know, it's still sad to hear. So you guys, where else do we need to go on this before we hit those ropes?
So real quick, just because I'm a gamer myself, I saw this discussion kind of go up, and we talked a little bit
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I talked a little bit about it off screen, but I wanted to bring it up in front of the peepo. Uh, so Silent Hill 2 remake in its first 4 days sold 1 million copies, and I kind of saw just random like discussions around social media. They just kind of look at where the climate is for people sometimes, and I learned that Resident Evil 4's remake sold 8 million copies. This one sold 1 million. Black Myth Wukong sold 200 million copies. And really, what it's telling me over all these times, because I think Dead Space remake sold quite a bit of copies too, is the rise back of single player games. And I'm going to bring this up to an even further extent because I know multiplayer games are still very important to the economy of gaming and all of that. And I think they still outsell single player games. So I'm not taking away from them and saying the next thing.
Yeah.
But I think more and more gamers are looking at microtransactions and how multiplayer games are kind of funded and run and saying, I don't want to deal with that. I would like my single player experiences back.
Grun, as another avid gamer, much like Kevin Calloway over here. I mean, you just had an impressive week of streaming some video games throughout the week. And Kevin, we know you do that when you do have the time. I know you said last week
low on time right now. It's been frustrating, but
definitely check them out,
time.
fans. They each have their own Twitch channel. You could go check them out and have some fun. But Grun, what do you feel about what Kevin's saying? Because he's actually bringing up a lot of valid points, especially in how we're seeing games shift nowadays in the circles we run in.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I think single player games are coming back. I think we've seen not just these more recent releases, but the remakes. People are remaking games, and a lot of these games are single player games. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, they both got remakes, and they're a bit more they're widely more known and enjoyed. Silent Hill, I think, as you said, Kevin, is a little bit more of a
more niche
game, and it's like, you know what, like and it may be more niche, but I always keep on hearing people have a lot of love for Silent Hill and wishing that it was wishing all the games were great, because not all the games are. But
and speaking from someone who played a bit of the first one, I never beat it as a kid because it scared me to death. And then I tried to pick it up later, and the remaster of it for Xbox wasn't really the same. Or maybe it was just too dated at that time. I couldn't get it. It was one of those things. But the remake itself is a very faithful remake to the original version of it. And it's creepy. I played it with the first time I played it, I had Annie sitting next to me, and I swear I thought she was going to scream at a couple times. And it was like a really tense moment to the point where I can't play it before I go to bed because it's so tense. Because I'll just be like adrenaline pumping. Yeah. And that doesn't happen to me a lot with video games anymore. I very rarely run into surprises, but the atmosphere that they build in that is very good. Couldn't put it over more. But all of that being said, like, I think there's something to be said about all of these remakes as well, to your point, Grun, because we're a generation who came up with all of these past things. Now they're catering to that generation, and there's a business in that to bring it more up to date. Like, I know we have love for the nostalgic product of it, but it's really hard to go back and play some of those games because of some of the dated mechanics. It's not all of them. The core of it is very good, but because it's like 20, 30 years old, it's harder to go back and still enjoy it as much because we have all of these good technologies. We have all of these mechanics. How can we update it and keep it true to itself while still getting exactly what we want out of the experience? And I think we're really, really starting to hit those remakes and hit them well.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's where we're getting at with especially the remakes. And it's almost like a genre in itself, the remake genre. Grun, can you go ahead and let us know what our friend the Lou is saying about this subject?
Well, I think he's making a very good point. So Lou says, I think there is a very large amount of gamers that enjoy great stories and enjoy the peace of playing a game alone. Yeah, there's a lot to enjoy about knowing that the game entirely relies on whether you're good or not, whether you can learn. Multiplayer is, he admits that multiplayer is fun when you have a great group of friends.
I agree.
But yes, microtransactions have taken over a lot of multiplayer scenes, which annoys a lot of gamers. Yeah, so I think one thing, like, people enjoy the idea of cosmetics, and I think that is fine. I think one thing that definitely it doesn't sit well with people is that some of the cosmetics are available for available for a weekend or a week, and then they're gone forever until over a year later, and they decide, okay, if you go to this store, you can purchase it.
And I think you see that not just in video games, though. They literally looked at brands like Supreme and they said, how can we put this into a digital arena? How can we create FOMO within a digital arena? And they did it with cosmetics. And at first, when they started doing microtransactions, it was to get better loot and all of this stuff. And that was game breaking. And people were just so against that to the point where they were killing off multiplayer games that were doing it. I think Battlefield was one of those. Star Wars Battlefield, if I'm not mistaken. It started that way, and it never got off the ground because all of gamedom rose up and said, we will not buy this game because we're not going to compete with, millionaire sons who can just sit there and buy all of the stuff when we have to put in thousands of hours. Cosmetics is fine to me. If people want to buy cosmetics and do that, I'm kind of 50-50 on this sometimes, but I'm generally okay with it. There's like gotcha game mechanics where like there's a randomizer aspect to it where you might throw in $100 and you get none of the things that you want. If you want to gamble with your money and the gambling is to try and find a cosmetic item that you want, or even a gun that could help you, be my guest. Like, if I'm okay with that, because it's not directly purchasing something that will directly give you an edge. It's purchasing a chance.
No, I agree with you on that.
I can offer an example in I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and in the time, and I've been playing it on and off for the last couple of years, but I've spent maybe a couple $100. And in all that, I have not gotten the iconic, the old magic card for Harpy's Feather Duster until just this past weekend, only because I just happened to randomly get a card from a master pack that was part of a Harpy deck. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go, because that might be the only chance I get this overpowered magic card. I got fucking lucky, but it's like I end up playing against people that spend thousands of dollars that have all the meta decks. And it's like, okay, they're playing 30 cards in one turn, and all of a sudden they have a monster that's 12,000 attack points.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing more and more people not want to deal with those. They still want to deal with the gotcha mechanics, but they don't want to deal with the pay to win mechanics. They would much rather get something. And I think this is why we're also seeing the rise of longer single player games. Because, and I can point to one game specifically about the success of this, because people who are fans of Dungeons and Dragons were waiting for a faithful thing of this for ages. It was Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 was a gigantic success because it literally did Dungeons and Dragons right for the first time ever within a video game scape. And I got it myself. I haven't played through all of it, but even in the 3 to 4 hours I've able to log into it, like, I literally played it for 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, I need to dedicate a day to this. Like, when I get a day free, this is when I'll lose myself in this game. And it speaks to it because that one, you can get any experience pretty much out of it. It's basically an open sandbox where you can do whatever you want within the confines of somewhat, but still.
Yeah. No, I like that. And you guys are all making some great points, even the fans out there. With that, let's move on to the last thing. We've all heard about it. Well, hopefully you've heard about it by now. It's been all over social media. Yeah, it's breaking news. Samantha Irving is leaving the WWE. She's been with the company 10, little over 10 years or a little under?
That I think
I'm starting to think right around that era.
Just under, but still a long time.
Yeah, long enough that she's known, she's respected, she's loved by fans. So she is leaving. It's still a developing story from my understanding. There's no concrete reasoning unless you guys have heard anything more than what I've heard.
No, and to my knowledge, it's effective tonight. So she's not on the show tonight.
Oh, so
yeah,
there is no send off. Like it was
weird.
It was rumored that Lillian Garcia was backstage tonight to fill in for her.
That's a weird aspect, especially for somebody who's been beloved by the fan base.
So generally speaking, that usually says that either her or a family member may have some issues and she has to change her lifestyle, or that's the bad version of it. The good version of it is that she got an opportunity that was put on her plate that she could not say no to.
Yeah.
So, like I suggested in the big group chat, like, what if it's UFC? Bruce Buffer can't do that forever.
Very true.
Or don't
dive too far into that. Yes. Let's not dive too far into that. I want to pick that up next week because I think that we're going to get more concrete evidence and things of what happened.
Sure.
Where she's ending up. Grun, do you have any quick thoughts on this one?
I mean, obviously, like I have been a very much big fan of her since I saw her come to the main roster, Raw and SmackDown. I think she's fantastic. UFC makes the most sense as to why this would be so quick, especially if Buffer is planning on retiring like this week or soon.
Okay. Yeah.
But before we move on to just to say my piece on Samantha Irving too, because I went off of that because I think she's very talented, which is why I would say UFC. And she will be missed from me because she gave so much personality just in her announcements and everything when it came to every wrestler. It felt like every wrestler got a different kind of introduction based on their character. And I really enjoyed that. I know it's not a traditionalist aspect and there are qualms with it, sure, but I enjoyed it.
No, that's a valid point. And plus, we're all our own individual fans, and what you enjoy, what Grun enjoys, what I enjoy, it could be all different things, but we all three know we enjoy a good Monday Night Raw, and that's where we are tonight. We are 38 minutes away from going live with Raw, where you will be able to see all the things that have been happening and maybe get some answers or some questions answered. We'll hit Annie's comment real quick here. Samantha Irving put ring announcers on a whole new level. That she did. Yep. So fellas, she definitely did. You know what? Let's jump into Kevin's topic to kick it off. Kevin, we're going to throw it up there. Here is the overlay of it. And Kevin, let everybody know what's in your chaos control.
So in my head, we are starting to finally see an interesting version of Karrion Kross where they're doing something with it. Whether he's flanked by Authors of Pain or not, personally, I think he should go off on his own because I think it makes it. I think with the group surrounding him, it muddies the water too much of what he's attempting to do.
Okay.
But we're finally starting to see the fruits of it. And I think that's why you're seeing Karrion Kross in random places without the goons next to him, without the goon squad, without the managers. He's just walking up behind Miz and he's going, "Do you really want to do that? Are you sure?" Really? Because it seems like everyone wants you to do the opposite. And then it's just going from there.
Yeah.
So I suppose what this poses to the group is it seems like we're going towards something connected to the Wyatt Six, which doesn't surprise me. However, how does the Wyatt Six affect Final Testament? Does it end up breaking things? Does Karrion Kross go on his own? What do we do? Assumingly we're heading towards that, because the only other thing I can think of is Wyatt Six against The Miz. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because Miz doesn't have numbers. He doesn't have numbers for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. What is this on?
So where do we go? Where do we go with Karrion Kross and this Final Testament after the Wyatt 6 feud? Because let's just go down the speculation and road that that's where it's going, because it feels most evident.
So I feel like the final destination for the Wyatt 6 is against the Judgment Day, and they are the ones to finally break it apart. I think there are going to be other pieces. One thing I had heard from Wrestle Talk is one speculation is that Raquel Rodriguez is kind of dressing a little bit like Rhea Ripley, like in her own way, and that's going to, and that Raquel and Dom are going to start side-eyeing each other.
Well, we might have more Judgment Day stuff later. So
yeah, but as far as the Final Testament, and like Annie had, I think this is a hot take. The rest of Final Testament needs Cross more than he needs them.
I don't think that's hot of a take. I think that's a. And by not a hot take, I mean it's very evident to me that Cross carries that group. Akam and Razor, the turtle villain squad, because I can't think of them otherwise. Because of Toka and Razor from Ninja Turtles. I can't unsee those after the names. I just can't. So I'm going to call them Toka and Razor for the remainder of this segment.
Okay. It works for me.
So
I know
Toka
exactly
and Razor are there.
About.
So Toka and Razor are there. And then you have Paul Ellering. At this point, why have the two managers set? Just put Scarlett and Cross off on their own. Scarlett can be the whatever mysterious thing that you want her to be around Cross. She could even be in the segments where he's being the devil's advocate kind of thing. Almost Sean O'Hare-esque back in the day.
No.
He's clearly going for that. It's clearly good, and it's a good booking dynamic. You can do a lot of things with it because whenever you need someone to turn heel or you want to tease someone to turn heel, he can be there. And that can be his role. He doesn't need a role where he's doing all the world heavyweight stuff to be relevant. No, he can be relevant because he makes other people relevant. And he makes the change for them because he affects them. Put him in a title match every so often and you got something. Like, that's it. You'd be a transitional, like, one-off, like he just gets beat. Good to go.
No. Yeah, no. I like where you're going with that, and I kind of do agree with Annie on this one. The Final Testament does need Karrion more than he needs them, and that's becoming more evident throughout the weeks. But I will say this, because I know you both have heard me speak ill of Karrion Kross and what I've seen. I will say this because I mentioned it on the Sunday house party. Karrion Kross, I'm coming around to him. I'm seeing what he's actually doing, and the more I see him, the more I don't need to see Final Testament. And that's everybody in that group. I mean, like, you can just take them and do whatever you want. Go off. I don't know what you want to do with them. Because right now it's almost like you could do a Michael Hayes and Lita representing the Hardy Boys back in the day,
Sure.
Just throw that together in there. Authors of Pain, you got your whole thing. I hope you guys know how to swanton.
Scarlett can work. She can wrestle.
She
if she wants to, like, just split them all up, just keep Toka and Razor together. And Paul Ellering, I have no idea what he does without Authors of Pain. Well, so maybe keep them as a unit over here. Scarlett does her own thing. Cross does his own thing. I think there's an option to keep Scarlett and Cross adjacent to each other. You don't need her that much in her manager role. Grun, you look
are-
like your face
are
has
you-
an idea.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I hope that was, or you're pooping. One or the
no,
other.
I was baffled by you said Scarlett can work because I know her. I know some of her segments from TNA,
Mhm.
but I also know her segments were very much in the same realm of Kelly Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's all I knew about her. And I'm like, okay, she probably can't work that well if they're only
She can.
doing that.
She can. She had a pretty successful indie career prior. And then they made her in TNA. They kind of put her into that role, which
Okay.
however you want to book someone is however you want to book someone. That's up
Yeah.
to you.
Exactly.
But she knows how to work, and at minimum, she can be led through decent matches. And there's plenty of people on that women's roster that can do it.
Yeah.
That's minimum. And
Okay.
I don't know how much her work has, gone up, how much she trains anymore, like any of that stuff. So I couldn't speak to if it'll be successful, but I can speak to say, yes, in the past, she has been able to work. I can't imagine that's gone away. Might have to shake off some ring rust. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that can be done in a month or so,
Yeah.
especially with the ability that I've seen her do, and Kevin, I
Mhm.
know you've seen her do. So yeah,
And the talent on the women's roster, because those are
Oh,
your
yeah.
training partners. They'll shake off that rust real quick.
yeah, I like exactly, Annie. We're gonna end this segment with that thought
Yeah.
right there. That is a great thought, and it would really bring. You could really do the hardcore element to the
Mhm.
women's division through those two women right there,
Mhm.
and through Scarlett's just overall presence of being that darker type entity inside the WWE. I think you could get some really cool things out of that. Some cool content.
And yeah,
Um,
Michin's newest gimmick where she's like the hardcore queen of WWE, like we get
Yeah.
a lot out of that.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, Cross on his own. Give me Cross on his own. I don't know
I
how.
think
I don't care how you get to it. Give me
Yeah.
Cross on his own.
I think I do just want to make clear that I wasn't saying that that Cross needs the final testament. I think I think you do break up the final testament. I think that is exactly what you do. Akam and Razor have them reset with Paul Ellering as their mouthpiece.
Mhm.
He's and turn them back into that.
Unleash
of its-
Paul Ellering for Christ's sake.
Unleash him on the mic and then unleash Akam and Razor into the ring.
Mhm.
there we go. That's where we're gonna end this segment on that. That was a good talk there. Can Cross finisher be called the crucifix? I guess we could. That was a good segment there, Kevin.
The crucifix.
The
crucifix.
there we go. We're getting even cheesier out there, so stay tuned for the next bit of ball of cheese. Grun, we're gonna stick with the co-host here, and we're gonna go with you and what you're wanting to talk about. So let's throw it up. Here we go on the overlay. Grun, this is what you're wanting to talk about.
Yeah.
So let the fans know what all this malarkey means.
Well, all this malarkey is the rift that's happening between Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, and now Braun Breaker last week attacked Jey Uso, or attacked Jey Uso.
Mhm.
Then Kofi tried to run back to the ring after Xavier had lost Jey in an IC title match. Xavier was holding him back. Kofi broke free, and he got taken out by Breaker. And then when Woods is checking on Kofi, Breaker climbs out the ring, and guess what he does? He goes 23 miles an hour and spears Woods again, as well. Well, and last week on Raw, Kofi had a one-on-one match with Breaker where Woods did not come down to the ring, but Woods came down after the match, specifically when Breaker was about to start beating on Kofi again after he had already gotten the win. When Jey Uso came down for the save, and so we got the 10-year anniversary, I think it is, of the New Day, and there's been a lot of rumblings about what is going to happen especially with Big E, because Big E is getting some tests done right now to see if he's ready to return or not.
Yeah.
I want one of two things to happen. Either, at least with the New Day, at least Xavier turns heel or Big E is cleared. That's all.
Those are your two.
Those are the two things I will accept. Anything else that includes we're continuing the New Day without Big E. Like I will stipulate to Big E just being like playing the role of manager or hype man.
Okay.
I will stipulate to that.
Mediator, even.
Yeah. Like that role he can play extremely well, I think. But he needs to be a part of the on-screen New Day.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the same without him, and
it misses its energy without Big E. I think you're right. I'm not saying they're bad without him. They're not bad by any means, but it certainly isn't the same.
No, these were three guys that they weren't bad wrestlers. They didn't. It's not like any of them were lacking charisma. It's that W didn't know what to do with them, and they didn't really know what direction to go in to get over. So they tried something, and they believed that they had something, but they weren't executing it right. The second they did, it became the most over thing ever.
Very true. I mean, they hosted a Mania.
Annie's
chiming in with a question.
I see that question.
Yeah.
I'm ready with an answer. I don't feel the need that it has to end. I don't feel that it has to end. If they can get some important business out of it and start doing other things because it ends, cool. That being said, like, we're starting to get new tag teams signed. If you want to keep New Day together, there's a way to do that. Keep them together. Have them, Lucha Brothers come in probably next year.
Yeah.
That's fresh feud. Machine Guns now are on SmackDown. Shout out Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin from here in Michigan, baby. Like there's new energy getting put into the tag division. And one thing I know, and I just know this man's mind is Alex Shelley because I've been around him in locker rooms a lot. That I guarantee you the reason that they hired Motor City Machine Guns is because of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin's psychology when it comes to tag team wrestling. They are about to teach this tag division how to do tag wrestling again, like at a modern era and a modern style. Don't be surprised in 6 months if this tag division is way hotter than it was in the last 5 years.
I respectfully, I'm hearing exactly what you're saying. And with the Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin introduction, I am 100% with you. This is where I differ. I do think the New Day needs to end.
Sure.
I think that we are at a point that I need Xavier Woods to step out of this and become what we all have seen him become, or what he's been in prior promotions and things like that. I'm ready for an Xavier Woods singles title run, like by himself. I just am. Kofi has done amazing things throughout a lot of my love for professional wrestling. And I think it's time to let that dude take a break. And he's
I guess that's the big question mark, isn't it? Is Kofi.
Yeah.
Kofi's been around for a long time, and I know he's accrued a lot of injuries. You can literally see it on his body sometimes.
Exactly.
If you stare hard enough, you can see him.
Well, and that's where I know exactly where you're coming from, where you talk about the tag team division and what's about to come in the next couple months. And when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking of all these two other teams that are coming in, the New Day's tag team doesn't even register in my top 10 of wanting to see those teams go up against anybody. And that's no knock against the New Day. It's just the fact that I've seen what they can do, and exactly what you guys talked about. Without Big E, the energy is gone. And when the energy is gone for too long, you can't just shock it back to life just because someone got a test and they're cleared because what if it doesn't work? What if nobody gets behind it?
You know what? There's always a risk with things, but I do think a
Very
Big
true.
E return would shock life back into New Day, and there's no question about it to me.
So
And
you
and
think it would
I'll
bring it right back up?
yes,
I think it
Okay.
would.
I think it would, and it's
For
it's
how
not
long?
because of New Day being more interesting
Mm-hmm.
or different. It's simply because of his return, and then they can build off of that from there with anything that's fresh.
I gotcha.
So there is a way to do it. All of that being said, Voice, I do not disagree with an Xavier Woods singles run either, because that man has proven in a lot of places that he can do it and he can hold the ball and he can roll with it.
Yeah.
So if that's the way they want to go, I have full faith in it. It's just a question of exactly what they want to do and where they see them fitting in. If Kofi's hurt and they can't keep him there and they can't, do whatever, Kofi's got a job for life in WWE. I don't expect him to leave WWE by any means. But if his in-ring career is winding down, he might want to put over his friend to put him on the biggest run he can get him to. That's how the business works. And then Big E can come back, and if he gets cleared, guess what you can do there? Maybe Kofi's not around anymore, but Big E is, and now you got New Day again. Yeah. So there are ways to do anything that they want to do, and it literally just depends on a couple factors, and is Kofi healthy enough to keep going? Because if he is, you can keep something together. If he isn't, shove Xavier off on the back of Kofi's momentum.
Yeah. I'm there with you. Grun, you want to wrap up this segment of yours, big guy?
Yes, I do. So I completely agree. No matter what, I think a Wood single titles run needs to be in the plans.
Yes.
At some point.
And as far as Kofi Kingston, I just thought of Javon Evans in NXT really needs someone to help guide him. But and who would be better? Who throughout their entire career has had a similar moveset, a similar way of wrestling than Kofi Kingston. I think he and Javon Evans, would be a great pairing.
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah.
That's not a bad way to do it.
You're in a ballpark that could work there, Grun. So as we've done on almost every single episode we've all done together, we'll put a pin in that, circle back around to it.
But we'll circle back to that next time.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one that we're gonna give it a couple weeks to breathe, and we can.
Well, they got a tag team number one contenders match tonight, correct?
And yes, and the things that have been happening tonight or with them in the past couple weeks, tonight could be a bigger movement that we see inside the story that they're going to be telling with the New Day.
My thought process is you got to put New Day over tonight because they're the face tag team in this. Have them face Judgment Day, and then whatever happens, happens.
Yeah,
but I could see a way where Authors of Pain get it because they're the people that they're facing.
Let's hope not. All right, let's go on to the next the next topic so we can get everybody ready for Raw, and we are 17 minutes away from Raw.
Speaking of Judgment Day.
Basically, yes, you are correct, Kevin Calloway, and that's why we keep you around. We all float in the sewer. And that's exactly what happens when Liv Morgan enters the ring. You can smell it. It's just there. It's sewer rat. And we all know we all float down there. So let's get into this, guys.
Would that make Dominic Mysterio the Rat King? And can we just dub him that from now on?
Yes, he is definitely the Rat King. He is the Rat King. And fans, if you're not sure of that, go look that up on the internet. You will have a fun time knowing that is an actual thing. And you don't even want to be around that.
On Ninja Turtles all day.
This is true. This is true. He's not spinning any jive here, everybody. He's talking truth. So the reason I'm putting this up, and I believe we had a new commenter hit us up about this, and this is exactly where I was going with it. Does the Judgment Day, here we go, does the Judgment Day need new leadership? Now, I know we've heard Finn's spiel. We've heard a lot of talk of there's no one that leads the the Judgment Day. Yes, there is. We've seen it. There is a slight leadership, and when someone steps out of line, someone gets butt hurt. So obviously, there's some type of hierarchy here. So with what we're seeing now, because it's almost like a different group inside the Judgment Day with these three that we brought up here. What do you guys think? Does Judgment Day need a little something else with like a defined leader, or is it doing good as it is? I mean, where are your guys' thoughts? Because if I'm going to be honest, I'm up in the air with this one, because one week I love what they're doing. The next week I'm kind of like, do we really need to see this again? But then the next week I'm loving what they're doing again. So where are you two at this junction?
I think Finn wants to bring back the demon form, because I think it's been away long enough that he can rehash it, rebirth it.
Okay.
And I think part of that is, I think Liv starts making more decisions without keeping him in the loop. And so we start seeing a darker, he starts yelling more, he starts getting angry more. Damien keeps getting the upper hand on them. Rhea keeps getting the upper hand on Liv, and Finn just loses it and says something like, Liv, guys, there is a leader, and it's the prince. And but these guys
I think
are
you
now
say he's the king for the Demon King.
Well,
ooh.
I mean, yeah. You know that?
I mean, we see where you're going, Grun, but
yes,
if you're going to make a declaration like that, because then he called him a hypocrite.
You know what? Yeah, King. I think you're right. I think King would be better, but JD, Carlito, Raquel, Liv, Dom, they're scared of him for the first time. The first time they're scared of him, because Finn gets angry, he gets aggressive, but now he's rageful. He's tapping into that dark side, which is where it leads to his final battle with Damien. Maybe Hell in a Cell. Like, I know we just had one, but like I'm thinking like, okay, well, they could probably push this to WrestleMania, because like it's like I know that's still pretty close between the last Hell in a Cell match, and it kind of has to be like on level with the fantastic Hell in a Cell match we just had with Drew and Punk. But like I'm just trying to think like I just don't know if a regular singles match would be enough.
Regular singles match won't be enough, but I don't. So it's not. I don't have a gripe with the Hell in a Cell aspect. It is close to the last one, and I fear that they will suffer because of the last one's greatness. So maybe another stipulation. What I'm more worried about is I don't think we can bring this to Mania. I don't think we can draw this out that long and it still have the fire that it has.
Yeah.
I think we got to pay this off by the end of the year, by the time Royal Rumble rolls around. Because then you can set up whatever Damien is going to do at Mania through that. Here's some wild speculation for you. If you don't got any other plan, assuming Braun Breaker isn't in this role, what about a Damian Priest and let's say a returning Brock Lesnar? Like these are options.
They're saying it's not happening, but it's like, I'm sorry, you would not be referencing Brock Lesnar if there wasn't a chance. And I think we do need to remind the listeners that Janelle Grant, I don't know if anything that she has said is true. What I do know is that she's named everyone except this one specific person, but she's been referencing that this person is a former UFC champion. Now, I have thought in my head, well, in this time frame, I don't remember, was Tito Ortiz still in talks of renewing a contract with WWE at the time? Because I know he's a former UFC champion, but I do know Cain Velasquez. Okay. Now I know that Cain Velasquez right now, I do believe he's still locked up for a different crime that I
Yes.
don't think any of
We
us
would.
would judge judge
I-
him for. Like, no,
Yeah,
let him
we'll
out.
just leave it at that. Look up
Yeah,
his
yeah,
crime.
but-
Everybody, yeah.
but
Yeah, I agree with you, Grun. I agree with you on that one.
yeah. But yeah, she has never said Brock Lesnar's name, which at this point, because they still have not actually said Brock Lesnar, there is good reason to believe that Brock Lesnar had nothing to do with it, and what she is trying to do is drag his name through the mud, try and get WWE to agree to just pay sell us in civil court and for an undisclosed amount of money. That is a possibility.
It's a possibility.
I don't know, but
It's potential speculation on that. Obviously, she's naming everyone else except for this one. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what leverage that would give her, though. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm
My disclaimer is that I am no lawyer. I do not know law. I know somewhat of psychology.
Yeah.
And I know a bit about business. And if I'm specifically not naming someone, and it means that you generally don't see a reason to name them. Like there's no point in dragging their name through the mud, because otherwise, if they were involved and they would need to be brought to charges, and you're already bringing everyone else to charges, why wouldn't you name them? So I think it's kind of the opposite to me, Grun, at least looking at it. I don't see a reason why she would do that. There's no reason. It's clear that she just wants to go after Vince for the most part and get him. Everyone else to her is just like, they're over there. Yeah. It's just everyone else read the lawsuit and the criminal charges and went, that's Brock. And they just jumped to conclusions, which literally could be anyone. They just see him more as this is the UFC fighter that came to WWE. So like linked to Vince, and everyone connected dots there. So I don't know. Of course, again, I am no lawyer, but that feels like something you would name in a suit. So I think Brock is very much still on the table. And I think a Brock Damian Priest, I don't know why you would reference Brock at all on WWE TV, and Cody just did in a promo. Yeah. So that tells me that Brock is in the works of coming back. What he's going to do, I have no idea. But
I like the Lou chiming in here. Who's Vince?
Who's Vince? Oh, sorry. I'll use his documentary name, Mr. McMahon.
Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon here. Yeah.
His full legal documentary name.
He is definitely out there on a limb. But yeah, I agree with you guys. And another thing we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see in the next coming up weeks, months, what they're going to do with this
to give thoughts on Judgment Day, because I know we got past that before I kind of talked up on it. I'm seeing more interesting things to me out of Dom, Liv, and Raquel.
Oh,
the other three feel like side players. And I am not saying that as a way to take shots at their talent, because all of them are very talented.
After what we've seen last week, Carlito would like to be a side player in a certain person's stable.
Listen, he wants a side hustle.
Yeah, he was definitely throwing some goo eyes over there. And but yeah, but
to me, that's what it feels like.
I kind of see exactly what you're saying with that, and I agree with it, because that seems to be where all your momentum, all your heat, and everything's coming from.
That's
so why
generating
not?
Everything.
Exactly, and plus you can play off of that to piss off Finn.
Yeah,
we all know how butthurt he gets about things.
Hey, if you ever want to turn Liv face, just have Dom cheat on her with Raquel.
Gosh, they're just making Dom real dirty.
I'm saying you can make Dom even more hated by him just jumping woman to woman. You can Latino heat this.
Oh,
I agree.
Definitely.
I still think that maybe the play is having him stay on Raw. Logan Paul comes in after the WrestleMania or the Judgment Day breakup. He takes in Dom because because Rhea wants nothing to do with Damian. No one wants anything to do with him. So he takes him under his wing, gives him a friend, a family, but then Logan starts treating him like shit, and eventually we get a Dom turning babyface after the fans have had stint of enjoying seeing Dom get what he's had coming.
That's fair.
Grun. Oh yeah.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Shut up, Grun. Shut up.
I don't hate that, honestly.
I agree with
think that would work.
I like
It
where
would
you're going
take
with
a
that.
few months because everyone's they're gonna want to see Dom get his
But
comeuppance by someone first.
Yeah.
But the thing is you can get there, especially with Dom,
Mhm.
and it's going to be gold, and people are going to enjoy it. And yeah, I'm
Dom is one of the best salesmen they have on the roster, and I'll die on that hill.
totally agree with you. I'll be up there with you on that hill. That's a good hill to be on. I would put money on that one. So let's hit up this real quick topic. Fans, now this is going to be a developing story because it has to do with the bloodline, and we've seen it start. It started a few weeks ago, but we're starting to really see it pick up momentum on both shows now. It's not just on SmackDown. We are starting to see it over here on Raw, and it's brothers in arms. Are we getting the reunification of the Uso brothers over into the bloodline?
Yes.
Guys, give me some quick thoughts on this. I know we can go long on this one, but let's just give some quick thoughts because it's still building. It's really still building.
We're on the ground of this, so it's wild speculation at this point. But I think yes, we're heading towards Usos reuniting, and we get an OG version of the bloodline. However, what iteration you want, I think. I know there's a lot of talk of Sammy being in it too. I think it's easier and probably better if you keep Sammy over here on Raw so that he can keep any momentum he can do there, and just factor in Cody until he spirals off with The Rock. And then you can add in Hikuleo whenever you need to.
I like it. I like
Agreed.
it.
Yeah, I'm completely in agreement with Kevin. I think that we are seeing it. Plus, Jey Uso was found commenting that he is ready to reunite with Jimmy and take on the Motor City Machine Guns, which, like, you know what? That would probably be a great match.
See, now
that's a dream match.
Yeah, I'm excited for that match. When you put them together, that's something I would love to see because I think with the new mindset of Shelley and Sabin coming in, and like you so excellently pointed out to Kevin, we could see a whole reinvigorated Usos because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we really could, because those guys love competition, and if you're putting on bangers of matches, I'm there for it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got going on, Grun?
Well, I think I think that could be a great match, as Lou said, as long as they're feeling oozy.
You said that so white. Even I want to like do a hate crime to you. I want to drive to your doorstep and just, I don't know, man. It just went crazy in my head.
Jesus.
All right, fans, this has been another Monday Night Raw preview show brought to you by the Window Lickers and In Your House, where me and my group, we do a lot of things, and I'm going to let them take the floor now, and let's see what you guys have been doing this week and what you got coming up.
So you can follow me at twitch.tv/Kevin Calloway Pro. I'd love to tell you when the next time I'd be on there is, but I have no idea because I got so many other fucking things going on right now. But I just had a ton of bookings and I got more coming up. I'm out in Wisconsin at Frontline Pro. I don't think I'm actually in a match, but I'll be there shaking hands and doing Deer Pro Wrestling stuff. By the way, Deer Pro Wrestling, Thursdays or Fridays, depending on when I get the edited episode to them and what timing. So it's either Thursdays morning, night, or Friday mornings. And that's with me, my boy Paragon. And we help you lock in, lock up, do whatever you need to do so that you can learn a little bit more. And that's for all the wrestlers in the crowd, so that you can really learn more about the business. That's what it's geared towards. But that doesn't mean other people can't listen, get a little inside scoop into the business and how it might work. Other than that, I am around here at Window Lickers and then supporting this IYH, and I hop into a chat every so often, and I'll cause a little chaos.
We love it. We love it. Grun, let them know where they can see your blue-eyed and your villainness.
You can catch me at twitch.tv/grunmeister on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sunday nights. I am streaming Friday nights. Yeah, Friday nights are my SmackDown preview review show. All the other nights, there is no set game except for, this weekend. You know what? Black Ops 6 is coming out. I pre-ordered it. I bought the Vault Edition like a COD addict. And
a cat addict. Go on.
And I will be playing some zombies. I will be checking out the multiplayer, and I will be checking out the campaign.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Grun. Good to hear, and I can't wait to see what you're out there doing, especially when you start yelling at the 12-year-olds. It's going to be fun. But as for me, you can find me here on the Window Lickers Monday Night Raw preview, brought to you by IYH. And you see my friends here. We join every Monday at 7 p.m. You can catch us here talking all this craziness. We get you ready for Raw. We talk 2 subjects that we can all generally talk about, and then my friends take over and we get to talk what they want to talk about. And that's a fun time. Ken, we appreciate what you're saying there. You are appreciated here, and thank you. It has been a great show. But after that, you can fact check us on Wednesdays with the Raw Deal with House and O'Neill, where they talk about what happened in Raw. So they keep you up to date right then, right after Raw. And they talk a little NXT every once in a while. So you can catch them. It's usually 4 or 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. You can jump into the live chat and have some fun. Usually we're in there. You can be a part of it too. It's a fun time. Then on Friday, you can hit me up and House when we go extreme with the ECW watch along, where me and House go back to 1997, and we are watching ECW Hardcore TV with you. And we talk about some things. We've brought up multiple subjects before we go into the watch along. Last week we had Grun. It was a fun time. We introduced him to some gruesome violence, and it was fun. He's seen Cronus bleed and bleed.
I'm scarred for life.
Yeah, he's scarred for life. But after that, fans, you could join us all when we hit the Sunday house party. Who's ever available jumps in from the team, and we talk all the things that happened in wrestling that week. We talk things that happen on our shows. We talk sports. We talk anything that you want to talk about. So join us and have some fun with the IYH crew, because, well, nothing's better than being in your house. You know, invited, of course. We don't want to jump in your house without the invitation. You know, there's a lawsuit and things, and Grun, you know, he can't even come to Indiana because of it. So, you know, just join us.
Alleged?
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly until the end of the court case. And then, yeah, it's not that alleged. But we still love everybody out there. And Grun, you are a part of this team, and we love you, my friend. And Kevin Calloway, well, you're the newest baby to the batch. And, you know, Mama House still loves you. Papa House, whatever you want to call him. He's the leader of the group. So join him, join everything what the Window Lickers and the IYH crew are doing. And thank you, Household, for joining us. We will catch you on the next one.
With O'Connor in your house. I did wood in your house. Hypocrisy's heading in clouds. Curating all kind of loud. That's in front of the crowds. Paragraphs holding it down. Anybody can get it. Come to us for your losing opinions. We got a voice, there is no choice. We use the voice in your house, making wrestling noise. Moving fast, it's like cruiserweight action. Your house is a perfect distraction. Pump us in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action.